This is going to be a follow-up video to my previous video where I talked about the concerning lab work that I had done at my doctor's office. And I want to go over some of the comments that were on that video and clarify a few things. So if you haven't watched that video, then definitely go check it out. Good morning, everybody. It's Allie. I'm on a fantabulous weight loss journey, and hopefully you'll come along for the ride. So I wanted to make this video just as a quick follow-up to that last video that I made about getting my lab work back and having elevated ALT, which is your liver enzymes, and also high cholesterol. Because I think that there are a few points that I need to clarify for people, and I apologize if there was any misunderstanding. I was still in the process of wrapping my head around everything, so this is that follow-up. First things first, the cholesterol was not so high that it is a need for concern. It is just above the normal range. And so it's something that my doctor wanted to take into account, and it is something that has previously, the numbers have been getting better. So that's why I mentioned that I think I goofed with, consuming a lot of eggs and shrimp. And I think that that may have, kind of given these results that had previously been better, that were a little bit higher, because your diet, as it changes over time, right, it can have an effect on those labs. So please don't misunderstand me. It's not a cause for alarm, but it is something to be noted. And it was not something that I thought about before I took the lab work. So anyway, so that's the cholesterol part. The ALT. Now, the reason why my doctor was concerned about this is because my ALT had gone up since my last set of labs. And after doing a lot of research, I think I figured out where I went wrong. And when I recheck the labs in 2 weeks, we'll see if I'm right. In order to better explain to you where I think I went wrong, I need to give you a little bit of background, because I think that some people were very concerned and worried about me, and I love you guys. You are so sweet, and I appreciate your concern. But I want to give you a little bit of context, because right, I don't share absolutely everything on here, and I feel like some of the context would help ease some of those concerns. So, first things first, before starting this medication, I was lactose intolerant, and I had a gluten sensitivity. And it wasn't until I was a couple of months in that I started to see people posting about how their GI symptoms had just magically been cured while on this medication. And I have to tell you that gluten-free stuff is expensive. I have figured out over the years, like, which things tasted good, which ones didn't, but it's expensive. A loaf of bread is like $9. Like, it's ridiculous. And the bread is like this big, and it has holes in it, and it's absolutely useless. So when I saw this, and I saw an opportunity to potentially be able to eat normal food, I decided to give it a try. And I started with milk, because I know the symptoms of having milk when you're lactose intolerant is much easier to deal with and much shorter lived. If you've never experienced that, then I am very happy for you. I don't wish it on anybody. And I found that because of the delayed digestion and the slowed digestion and my organs just functioning better in general with this medication, that I was able to consume milk and not have a problem. And I was like, holy cow, this is amazing. So I started to incorporate a lot more milk products into my diet, cottage cheese, milk in general, using milk, mostly a lactose-free milk, in my protein shakes and things of that nature. Whereas previously, I had been exclusively using rice milk, oat milk, right, non-dairy milk. And I was really excited about that because it does make a huge difference in flavor, and it also made a huge difference in meeting my protein goal, because the dairy products have higher protein, right? So if I'm making a protein shake and I'm using a milk that has more protein than, say, a plant-based milk, it helps me reach those protein goals. And that was very important to me. So that was step one. Step two, I tried introducing gluten into my diet, and it was a huge success. I was able to eat just normal tortillas, normal bread, things that have gluten in them. I haven't been doing a lot of pasta, so I can't speak to that. And I don't eat a lot of pizza, so I can't speak to that. But mainly I was doing keto bread and tortillas, specifically the low carb or net carb tortillas, which of course have gluten. So there's that. And I've been doing that since before the last blood work, which was normal. So I don't necessarily think that's the culprit, but I wanted to include it, again, in full transparency to give you more context. The other thing that I've been doing, which has been more recent, is I have essentially been living off of rotisserie chickens and Publix deli turkey, lunch meat. And it wasn't by choice. It just so happened that A, that's what's affordable, and B, that's what doesn't taste weird to me or cause me digestive upset. And I've talked about in previous videos, going all the way back to the beginning of my journey, that I have really struggled when it comes to meat-based proteins on this medication. It's very challenging for me to digest them. That includes pork, beef, steak, like all of that. Can I eat it? Yes. Do I eat it? Yes. But in very, very small portions. And I have to do a lot of digestive enzymes afterwards. Whereas with chicken and turkey, I don't have any issues. And, depending on how they're prepared, I don't need digestive enzymes at all. So I have seen in my research others posting in support groups saying that if you're doing a lot of lunch meat and a lot of rotisserie chicken, then it could be the culprit for a sudden rise in your ALT. And I thought that was very interesting because that's what I've been doing. Again, with the full transparency, I've also been doing a lot of protein snacks. And by protein snacks, I mean the legendary pastry and protein bars. And these are highly processed, right? They've got a lot of stuff in them. And again, with the gluten. And so I think that this could potentially be a contributing factor. I rely heavily on protein shakes and protein snacks when I don't feel like eating. I make sure that I meet my protein goals for the day, but if the suppression is so high that I don't even feel like eating, then I will rely on those products. Or in the case of nausea, right, I will do a protein shake instead of eating a meal. And there are some people who have made claims that, drinking a lot of protein shakes can be problematic. I don't know that that's true. Again, that's just anecdotal. A few people have mentioned it, but just in case it's one of the culprits, A, I don't want to be taken off this medication, and B, I'm going to have to change things up. And I think that as you lose weight in this journey, you really have to change and adapt. And this is one of the reasons why blood work is so important. I had quite a few disturbing comments on my post where people were saying, "Oh, this is really interesting. My doctor says labs aren't necessary." And there are very few times when I will point blank tell you that you need to get a new doctor. This is one of them, because it is the main reason why insurance companies are now saying that they are requiring face-to-face visits, right? Not with the telehealth company, because many of the telehealth doctors, specifically for people who are doing compounds, are not requiring labs every 3 months. What ends up happening to many individuals who are on these medications, GLP-1s, who are not doing blood work regularly, is what could have potentially happened to me. If this ALT number had continued to go up and up and up and up and up, and it wasn't caught, eventually the numbers would become high enough and I would end up in the ER, and then you would be looking at significant liver damage. So at this point, right, both myself and my doctor are aware that I have lost a lot of weight and that can make the numbers fluctuate, whether it's cholesterol or ALT. And it's something that we want to look at now when the numbers are still relatively low. But there are many, many people who post in the support groups that they had no idea that there was a problem until they ended up in the ER, and then they have blood work done and their ALT numbers are in the 600s, 800s, 900s, right? Which is insanely high and very, very bad. So it's important to do the blood work. I know it's a pain. It's absolutely a thorn in my side. I'm not a fan of needles, but I do the best that I can, and I'm paying out of pocket for these labs, so it's not cheap, but it's important. And it's important for the exact reason why I made that video where I was talking about my labs, because if you don't have them done, you don't know what's happening. And if you're not getting them done every 3 months, then you're not going to be able to spot an anomaly or a potential problem and address it before it becomes a problem. And that is really, really important on these medications. The other thing that I want to mention is that because I've been doing more gluten, it also means more carbs. And we already know, because I'm a diabetic, that my body does not process carbs correctly. So I am going to go ahead and cut back a little bit on the carbs. I'm not going to be doing keto or cutting carbs out or anything crazy like that. But I am going to go back to being more aware of the carbs that I'm eating. And for the next 2 weeks at least, I am going to go back to gluten-free to see if that can help bring those numbers down. When your body doesn't function properly, it can be really exciting when there's a medication that makes it function properly. So I just want to be clear so that people don't panic that there is a human component here, right? I have gone years without being able to eat gluten. And looking back on my FitnessPal and what I've been eating, I have been regularly incorporating carbs into my diet because I can now, and it's great. Well, it may be contributing to these high ALT numbers because of the diabetes, because of the rotisserie chicken, the lunch meat, right? The processed foods, the protein snacks, right? All of that kind of comes together and can play a role. It could be something else. We won't know until we run the blood work again. But from what my doctor said to me, the majority of the time it is diet related. Now, the other thing that I want to mention is there were quite a few comments that were like, oh, I wouldn't take advice from, a GP on nutrition. And while I agree with you for the most part, my doctor specifically, she knows her stuff. And she and I are on the same page, which is why I'm super disappointed that she's going to be taking time off to be with family and to start her own business, because she's phenomenal. So in general, yes, you need to speak to a dietitian, you need to speak to a nutritionist, but everything that she told me is exactly what's online for, major health organizations like Heart Disease Organization, all of that, like everywhere you can research about various diets and what they can do to treat health conditions, or in this case, help me with my lab work. She is right on point. The other thing that I want to mention that got some people triggered was the word vegan. And I just want to throw it out there because I think that many, many people get the wrong idea about a vegan diet. Either they encountered a vegan who was like a, extremist, or, they heard something or watched something. A vegan diet is not bad. It is actually one of the very few proven ways to reverse type 2 diabetes without medication. So a vegan diet is not the enemy. I know everybody loves their meat and their cheese and they get all upset about it and defensive. Please don't. Essentially what I'm going to be doing would be considered more plant-based, or even pescatarian if you wanted to look at it that way. But I have done a vegan diet previously for health reasons, and it worked wonders. And that was one of the few times that as a diabetic, not on this medication, that I was able to lose 11 pounds and keep it off in a month, which if you have diabetes, is like, pretty much impossible. So it's not a bad word. So please don't get hung up on that. She did not specifically say a vegan diet. She listed everything out. And essentially that's what it was, right? I can read between the lines. But I just wanted to clarify that so that people don't continue to have a misunderstanding. choosing to have a lifestyle that is plant-based or that is devoid of animal products is not a bad thing. And it's also not in the same category of fad diets, which you guys know I'm not a fan of. A vegan diet is a lifestyle choice. It can be made for ethical reasons, or it could be made for health reasons, both of which are perfectly fine, right? So let's not get hung up on the word. Let's not get, triggered and start thinking about that one time that vegan made us feel bad because we were eating bacon. Just calm down. It's going to be okay. I promise. Now, I did receive quite a few requests for people looking for information on what specifically I'm going to be eating or to do a what I eat in the day. And I'm just going to go ahead and come out and say that I'm not 100% comfortable doing that right now. I am educating myself on what it is that I need to be doing, right? To do some plant-based options, obviously fruits and vegetables, that's a given. But what I don't want to do, and this is very, very important to me. So if you were someone who requested this, please understand that I am saying this from the heart. What I don't want to do is post some what I eat in a day videos, and go through and explain everything, and even give the caveat of, hey, I am doing this to improve my labs, and then have somebody take that and run with it and go, oh, this is how I need to be eating. That would really bother me. And people do that all the time. All the time. I cannot tell you how many awful comments I see, both on other people's what I eat in a day videos, but also on the ones that I have done, and I have only done a few. It's one of those things where people are listening or watching, but they're not really listening. So even if I make a video and say, hey, I'm doing this plant-based diet because I'm trying to lower my ALT and my cholesterol for lab works coming up soon, and here's what I'm eating, make sure you talk to your doctor, it will go right over somebody's head, right? Or maybe a younger individual, and they'll watch the video. It's problematic. So I am going to be tracking what I'm eating, but I am choosing, for other people's safety, to not do a what I eat in a day video. Because over the next few days, while I figure this out, I'm probably going to be coming in under my caloric deficit. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, I am trying to plan out meals, and fruits and vegetables, while very high in nutrients, which is great, it's going to help my liver, they're very low in calorie, which makes it challenging to meet those calorie goals because my appetite suppression is so high. You see what I'm saying? And now I can't fall back on eating lunch meat or eating, rotisserie chicken or having a protein shake or a protein snack. So I'm going to be making adjustments, and it's going to be trial and error for me. And I do not want to publish that and potentially do someone harm. It's very important to me. So specifically for week 1, not going to be doing any what I eat in a days. I'm going to be trying to figure this out, right? I mean, this is my health that I'm talking about, and I need to take it seriously. If I get the hang of this and I start meeting that calorie goal and I'm not coming under, then I may consider doing a what I eat in a day video, but I'm just being honest with you. I am not making any promises because I need to be confident that I can showcase this plant-based diet, meet my protein goals, and meet my calorie goals so that I'm not encouraging anybody to undereat. because that's very important to me. So I hope that you understand, and I ask for your patience if you are one of the many who had requested a video. I could definitely do a video on, well, the things that I bought and what I'm trying to incorporate into my diet. I could do a video like that if that would be helpful for you. But what I eat in a days are a little bit different because the videos get pushed out to a much larger group of people. And my concern is for anyone starting out on this medication, those who are not on this medication, who may see the video, right? And of course, younger viewers, which may not understand the nuances of nutrition just yet. So those are kind of my concerns. I got a lot of really great suggestions as far as supplements go, things that you can take. And I want all of you to know that I have read your comments and I super appreciate you. I am going to hold off on supplements for the time being because I don't want to start taking a new supplement and then also be doing all these other nutrition items and not be able to tell what it was that made the difference. Okay, was it the nutrition or was it a supplement or was it you see what I'm saying? Like, it muddies the waters if you try to do too much at once. So I'm going to hold off on supplementation for now and just focus on the nutrition, redo the labs, and see how that affects it. If we have to do it again, everything that I've read says if it comes out, at the same level, then you have to do it again in 2 to 3 weeks. So at that point, I'll talk to my doctor, right, and consider doing some supplementation in addition to the nutrition to try to help. The last thing that I wanted to clarify before I let you guys go is I talked a little bit about caffeine and how I had previously stopped consuming caffeine in an attempt to become healthier. This was triggering for some people, and I apologize. Caffeine in and of itself is not a bad thing, and I apologize if you took it that way. What I should have said to clarify is that I was a caffeine junkie. I was drinking coffee, green tea, caffeinated, water flavors, right? Like, I was really just overdoing it. And there's a difference between having caffeine, right, and the helpful benefits that come with that, and then also overdoing it, which is what I had been doing before I started a healthier lifestyle on this medication. So I just wanted to clarify that. Please don't come for me with all your hate about, oh my God, I love coffee, I can't give it up, you're crazy. I didn't mean that caffeine in and of itself is unhealthy. I was referring to my own journey with caffeine, which had kind of gotten out of control. And I should have been more clear on that. So I apologize if you were triggered by my caffeine comment. I know that, we all have our vices, and caffeine was definitely one of mine. If you found this video helpful, definitely give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe. I'd love to have you along for the ride, and stay tuned because I am going to be posting updates as I go along. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, definitely go check them out. I have a lot of helpful tips and tricks that can help you along in your health journey. If you're looking for a positive-only support group, link is in the description box below. And as always, be kind, rewind.